Mujin says that something is weird about this. He understands that it's a breathing technique, but it is different from the Shaolin methods he's read about in novels. They don't teach chants for cultivation or things about yin and yang or the 5 elements. He sighs, saying that he's sure there's a good reason for this. It jumps to an hour later, and Mujin has been doing his best to follow everything that he has been told. On the outside, he's trying to pose as a normal student, but inside, he is just desperate to get some inner energy, which is the source of power that allows people to split mountains and fly in the skies. These are the things that he assumes he'll be able to do once he gets the energy. He's mostly excited about it because of the demonstration he saw earlier from Hai Yizhong, along with the fact that he is down bad from Murim novels. He then gets told to open his eyes. Hai Yizhong says that the energy circulation that they just learned is a basic method that allows them to feel and accumulate it within their bodies. They should all practice it in their free time. Mujin gets annoyed by the fact that they are not just teaching him a cultivation technique, and that they are just making them start from basic breathing. For him to get the inner energy, he must be able to sense the energy first. One of the students hands him a book, and he asks what it is. The student says the book contains images of a human's meridians. Some students talk about how they are different than they thought. Hai Young says that there's no need to memorize the whole book. Just memorize the main meridian so that you can use it when you're cultivating or if you want to subdue your opponent. Mujin gets excited, then explains how meridians are passageways where energy flows throughout the body. Inner energy also does too. Hai Yizhong tells one of the students to step forward and point out where all the meridians are. While he's doing this, Mujin is reading the book, saying that he will have this all memorized by today. Later that evening, we see him recalling Hai Yizhong's words about learning all of the meridians. He says that it means that he could try out some moves right after mastering the energy circulation technique. While he is walking, he spots Baobgang, asking him what he is doing. Baobgang laughs, saying that, thanks to his exercises, his knees don't hurt as bad, and he is trying to train more. Mujin gets pissed, saying that he can hear his joints creaking and that he taught him those exercises so he didn't hurt his knees, which would force him to recover. Baobgang clicks his tongue, saying that iron only gets stronger the more it is hit, and starts flexing. Mujin is not having any of it and tells him that iron only becomes stronger if you strike it in the correct manner. And if you do it recklessly, you will just break it, and that the same logic applies to humans. He then asks Baobgang to take a seat, saying that he is Chris Hansen and would like a word with him, then convinces him to get a massage. He says it might hurt a little bit. As soon as he presses, we see Baobgang make a pained face. He tells Baobgang to let him know if it hurts. A bit later, Mujin says that massaging injured knees reminds him of the past. He flashbacks to when he was in the Special Forces. His body was constantly in pain, and he tried to bear through it and continued training while being injured. Even though he suffered badly, his mission required him to cross a river. In the end, he fell and was forced to retire early. At that time, he really thought it was over for him, and he lived without energy. We see him on a park bench, and he looks down as it is raining towards a puddle. He looks at his own reflection and says that the current Baobgang looks a lot like he did back then. Mujin tells Baobgang that if his body is injured, he's the only one who suffers and nobody else would take the responsibility. Mujin wonders if he said that too much like a lecture. Baobgang pats his head, saying that he doesn't know what he went through before he came here, but the Shaolin doesn't abandon their disciples just because they are injured. He smiles, saying that they won't abandon anyone, regardless of what happens. Mujin is surprised and smirks, saying that if Baobgang is saying it, it must be true. Baobgang laughs, saying that starting tomorrow, he should train in the way of the Shaolin and lets out a scream due to Mujin's massage. After the massage, Baobgang quickly apologizes for taking up his time, asking where he is going. Mujin says that he is going back to his room to practice the circulation technique that he learned. Baobgang is surprised, saying that surely he should already feel the energy from his family's technique. Since he is a physician, surely he should be able to read the flow of the energy. Mujin realizes that his story is starting to fall apart and makes up an excuse, saying that he hasn't learned it due to personal issues at home. Baobgang says that he should practice here, as he was also thinking of circulating his energy, and that it would be a good chance for Mujin to train with him. Maybe if he trains next to him, he might be able to get a better sense for energy. Mujin is instantly sold, saying that is the smartest thing this smooth-brained musclehead has ever said. He sits down, saying that he might as well try it out. He readies himself, and then tells Baobgang that he is ready. Bayob Gang laughs, saying to make sure to stay focused and pay close attention. He takes a deep breath, and Mu Jin starts to feel something as the air around Bayob Gang clearly seems different from earlier. He says that he will take this chance to figure out what is different between them, and then starts to see something that he did not see when he himself was training, and wonders if this is what they have been talking about. He is surprised as he starts to see an orange hue around Bayob Gang, saying that this must be energy. He starts to lock in. He's breathing out with his mouth while gathering all of the evil energies, exhaling it from his body. While breathing in, he breathes as deep as he possibly can, absorbing the energy of nature until it reaches his core. He finally found the difference between himself and Bayob Gang. He starts to make a strained face, saying that he failed at absorbing the energy, and he begins to imagine himself storing it. He starts to feel a warm feeling in the middle of his abdomen, and says that he's done. He has felt the energy, but quickly makes a questionable face, as it is about the size of a grain of rice. He says it's small, but he can still feel it. Then he makes some joke about how people still call them truffle chips, even though there's not even 1% of truffle in it, which gives him confidence. Bayob Gang says that both Hai Ijeong and Yun Sung were right. He is someone who will become a pillar to the Shaolin. Mu Jin says that he has gotten a rough grasp on how to sense energy and store it. He's practiced the breathing technique a lot now, so he's familiar with it, but he wonders why it feels so cold. He opens one of his eyes, and Bayob Gang laughs at him as Mu Jin sees that it is already nighttime. He apologizes to Bayob Gang, saying that he didn't know it was this late. Bayob Gang tells him not to worry about it, and to quickly go back to his accommodation. Before he leaves, he quickly bows, thanking him for instructing him. Bayob Gang is surprised he's already reached this level and laughs, saying that he'll be able to learn the enlightenment technique easily now. Mu Jin is confused, saying that surely he'll have to learn more about the meridians first. Bayob Gang says that since he's from a physician family, surely he already knows all of that. Mu Jin laughs, saying that it was just a joke as he forgot his own lore. Bayob Gang says that was an L of a joke, little bro, and to go back. Mu Jin is panicked about the physician's family thing, saying that he'll have to memorize all the meridians in a day. The next day for the morning training, Hai Yijong tells everybody that if they can sense energy and if they have memorized the meridians to step forward. We see Mu Jin yawning, saying that he's finally managed to memorize them all, and it'll feel good to be someone who steps forward. Two people instantly step beside him, which catches him off guard. He wonders if it was simpler than he thought since there's quite a few people. He says that he was supposed to be an exceptional genius, so he wonders what's going on here. Hai Jiong shows them the basics of the Shaolin cultivation technique, which is what Babe Gang mentioned last night. He says that since it is the basics, it won't take long, and he'll teach them slowly. He starts speaking an enchantment table, and all the students are surprised that the three of them managed to memorize all of it in a day. We see Mu Yul blankly sitting there. Mu Jin and the other students begin to return back to their groups, and Mu Yul asks him how he learned all of that in a day. Mu Jin starts to explain it to him, and Mu Yul turns into a super genius, instantly understanding everything. Mu Jin realizes that his brain is entirely empty, asking if he learned anything. Mu Yul confidently says not a thing. Mu Jin tells him that he'll be able to do it soon and to focus on breathing. Mu Yul laughs, saying okay. Mu Jin continued to memorize all of the meridians until it was perfect, along with memorizing the basic cultivation technique. He says that he can feel his energy filling up faster, but it's closer to as if it moved up 1 decimal point. But even so, he's still hella excited for learning things that he's only read about in novels, and that it's extremely fun. And this is what it must feel like to be a protagonist. As his training continued to go smoothly, we hear Mu Yul call out to him while he is training. Mu Jin asks him where he went, and we see Mu Yul carrying somebody by the leg, dragging them along the ground, and he looks very excited about it. Mu Jin is wondering if Mu Yul just murdered somebody and tries to figure out what is going on. So he asks Mu Yul, who says that he isn't dead, so it's okay. Mu Jin asks him if he's sure that he did not kill him, and Mu Yul says no and introduces him as Mu Kyung, saying that he joined the temple earlier than he did. Mu Jin asks him why he is carrying him around. Mu Yul says that he could not carry him on his back since he was scared. He needs to wake him up, but he's completely out of it. Mu Jin tells him to wait a second and looks down at Mu Kyung, saying that the dirt on him is obviously caused by Mu Yul, but the bruises on his body are not, and that somebody must have beaten him up. He says that it looks like a footprint on his body. Mu Yul says that he's right. Mu Jin says that his name sounds familiar, and he recalls Mu Kyung as a tall but scrawny kid, and he looked malnourished, something closer to a scarecrow than a human. We see a memory that Mu Jin had while passing him, but he is truly remembering something else. He can't recognize his face, but the name is very familiar, and he starts to recall where he heard it before but shakes his head, saying that it's not important. Muyul then asks why he would be beaten up. He says there's probably many reasons, but doesn't know for sure. And he tells Muyul that he knows someone who would do it for sure. He tells Muyul, since Mu Kyung joined earlier than he did, they need to find somebody who joined before Mu Kyung, and that it's somebody Muyul knows, as he sparred with Mu Jin early on. Muyul recognizes who it is, and we see Mu Gung asking them what they need. He sees Muyul carrying Mu Kyung, but he's completely lost, so he asks them what happened. They continue to stare at Mu Gung. Confused, he asks them what it is. Muyul then drops Mu Kyung to the floor. He grunts, and then his soul leaves his body. Muyul laughs, saying oopsie. Both Mu Jin and Mu Gung stare, since they just witnessed a murder. A bit later, after confronting him, Mu Gung asks why he would waste his precious training time on them. Mu Jin wonders what's wrong with his attitude, saying that as their senior, surely there's nothing more important than an injured junior. Mu Gung reminds him that he is his junior as well. Mu Jin laughs, saying that he's going to be known as a senior who lost. Mu Gung tells him that it was only because he let his guard down. Mu Jin continues to instigate him, saying that he got completely crushed. Mu Gung loses control and punches toward Mu Jin, but Mu Jin quickly ducks under it and goes in for a tackle. He grabs onto his collar, throwing him onto the ground, and then quickly gets him in a twister pose. Mu Gung gets annoyed, saying that he is using weird techniques again. Mu Jin laughs, saying that he lost yet again, and the result will be the same, even if they fought 100 times, as he does not understand why he is losing. Mu Gung tries to get out of it, but realizes that he can't. Mu Jin tells him that if he explains why Mu Kyung is in such a state, he will tell him why he lost. He lets go of Mu Gung, and Mu Gung quickly backpedals to create distance. Mu Jin realizes that the attitude must be because he has a grudge against him, and he's very prideful to someone who lost. Mu Gung asks if he will really keep his end of it. Mu Jin says yes, asking him why Mu Kyung is beaten up. He says there is no other reason than he got on the bad side of Mu Tae. Mu Jin asks who that is, and Mu Gung tells him that he is from the outer sect, and he is the only son of an escort establishment. Mu Kyung's father is a porter for the Sea Bull escort group. He says that Hae Moon was trying to recruit Mu Tae into the temple, but ended up discovering Mu Kyung's talent. He brought them both here together. The problem now is that Mu Tae thinks that Mu Kyung is trying to get a position of power over him, so he started to bully him as he felt inferior. Mu Jin says that it's crazy as they are Shaolin disciples, but Mu Gung tells him that it can't be helped as his father is working for Mu Tae's family. Mu Jin gets pissed, saying that if this was a normal place he would understand, but this is the Shaolin that teach the way of the Buddha. He points out to Mu Gung that he has the greatest influence over the students, yet he still hasn't done anything about it. Mu Gung asks what he is meant to do, and Mu Jin says that as the strongest he should protect him. Mu Gung tells him that there are 3 of them, and fighting even just one would be tough, so he can't do that. Mu Jin points over to Mu Yul, saying that Mu Yul says that Mu Gung is the strongest of them all. Mu Yul doesn't say a word because he is in another dimension mentally. Mu Gung gets embarrassed and clears his throat, saying that that might be the case to Mu Yul and that Mu Tae's group doesn't take their training seriously. Mu Jin asks him about it, and Mu Gung says that he already told him that they are the outer sect disciples. Of course, the outer sect still uses Shaolin's martial arts as the base. I don't know why that is relevant, but Mu Jin then wonders if Mu Tae was one of the 2 people who stepped forward with him, saying that he must have already completed the prerequisite learning. I feel like I might have misread something here. Mu Kyung starts to wake up, and they look over at him. He opens his eyes and asks where he is. Then he looks up to see all 3 of them and thinks that they are angry at him. He then crawls backwards in fear. They quickly say they are not here to hurt him. Mu Jin explains that he heard his situation from Mu Gung. Mu Jin wonders how badly he was beaten for him to be this scared of them. He understands since Mu Kyung's dad works for Mu Tae's family, it might cause more problems if he talks. He wonders if there is any way to help him or not, and then realizes something, saying that he thinks he can, asking if he will listen to him. Mu Kyung asks if he can even help him. Mu Jin says it's simple. He just needs to report those threatening him with his father to Hai Aijong. Mu Kyung is confused and asks if he is teasing him, saying there is no way they will let his father off. Mu Jin says that is also simple, and that will be resolved if he joins the main hall, as it would move him up from the outer sect. Since the outer sect disciples usually stay outside of the Shaolin, not everyone can become one, but they realize why Mu Jin said that and what goal he was trying to accomplish. Mu Jin says they are just outer sect disciples, so they can't threaten a main Shaolin disciple or his father. He recalls Baob Gang saying that the Shaolin will never abandon a disciple. He stretches his hand out, saying that Hai Yijiong and the Shaolin will never let them do as they please. Asking if he would like to give it a try, Mu Jin asks him why he's not saying anything, asking if he doesn't have the confidence to become a main disciple. Mu Kyung awkwardly looks to the side. Mu Jin starts to get pissed, asking if he intends to allow his father to stay and work under someone who bullies him, saying that if he gives up, then his father will have to keep working under Mu Tae, asking him if he is truly okay with this. Mu Kyung quickly grabs his hand, saying that he will give it a try. Mu Jin says that is a great decision and then looks over, saying he'll tell them all about his second plan now. He says that they can't just let them bully him until he becomes a main disciple, and that they have to beat Mu Tae first. It jumps to 3 days later, when they are having free time in the afternoon. We see some kids in an alley telling Mu Tae that Mu Kyung is here. Mu Tae says that he knows and that he told Mu Kyung if he doesn't come here, then he'll send a letter to his family. We see his underlings. They are named Mu Hui and Mu Huan. They laugh, saying it's been a while since they last beat him. A while to them is 2 days. Mu Huan says that Mu Kyung has been hanging out with some strange guys. Mu Hui says that he is talking about Mu Jin and Mu Yo, and that Mu Gung is also with them. They wonder why Mu Gung is hanging out with them. Mu Hui says he doesn't know, suggesting that they might all come today. Mu Huan says that's good, saying that they'll have more targets to beat up. Mu Tae starts to laugh, saying this is great and that he's been wanting to beat up Mu Jin for a while now. Mu Hui and Mu Huan both say that they have to teach him a lesson, as he has been acting out of place for a while. They also talk about how Mu Gung acts like a role model, and how he cried recently. Mu Jin then tells Mu Gung they are calling him a goody two-shoes. He laughs, saying if that's what they think of him, and then the group turns to see Mu Jin and the boys pulling up. Mu Jin laughs, saying that at least they aren't running away. Mu Hui and Mu Huan both laugh as well, asking why they would need to run away, and they guess Mu Jin's confidence is too high right now. Mu Jin laughs since they just called Mu Gung a gorilla with no brain. Mu Gung says that he'll make sure they never say that shit again. Mu Huan walks forward, asking if he's trying to scare them. Mu Jin then says he will deal with Mu Hui and that Mu Kyung has to deal with Mu Tai himself. Mu Jin tells him to remember what he taught him, saying that as long as he does remember it, he doesn't need to worry. Mu Hui walks forward, saying it's crazy that Mu Kyung is making friends and he's envious of him. They start shit-talking Mu Gung and Mu Jin. Mu Tae stands before Mu Kyung, asking him if he's going to try to hit him. Mu Tae puts his hands up but is terrified, saying that he's too scary. Mu Tae says that if he does hit him, surely he will know what will happen to his father. Mu Kyung gets afraid and starts to recall his father, but also remembers what Mu Jin was telling him earlier, and that they have to teach him a lesson. Mu Kyung must become a main disciple. Mu Kyung closes his eyes and starts to cry while punching forward, saying not to pick on his father. Mu Tae dodges his punch and goes for an opening, asking if he is crazy. Then we see somebody's fist get caught as it was Mu Gung catching Mu Huan's fist, and he says that's not bad for a gorilla. But Mu Huan then realizes that he can't pull his fist back, saying that he's hella strong. And he looks up, saying that Mu Gung is giving off a completely different vibe now. And we see his eyes shining. Back before they came, we see Mu Gung asking the others why he would be involved in this. Mu Jin tells him that a junior needs help, asking if he is too scared to step in. Mu Gung laughs, asking why he would be scared of them. And Mu Jin says that since he decided to help, they should finish what they were talking about. Mu Gung quickly asks what he means, and Mu Jin reminds him that he told him that he would tell him why he lost. Mu Jin says that the chain punch he used is definitely fast, but that's all there is. Mu Gung says that isn't that the most important thing in martial arts? Mu Jin takes a stance, saying that he'll understand if he experiences it, and he will attack him with a chain punch first, and he wants him to try to avoid it. Mu Gung looks a little nervous, but quickly manages to avoid the punch. Mu Jin says that's good, but now he will start with his second technique, so try dodging it too. He rears his fist back, and Mu Gung says that he just needs to dodge it normally, but it was just a feint as Mu Jin goes for a low kick. Mu Gung starts to roll around on the floor, asking why he lied. Mu Jin says that if he already knows what his opponent is going to do, that's the point. If your opponent knows what's coming, why would he get hit? He says that Mu Gung needs to deceive his opponents for his attacks to work. He says that his punches are fast and powerful. He will admit that, but before he even punches, he telegraphs it too much just based off his posture. Mu Gung says that he just needs to be so fast that the enemy can't dodge. Mu Jin says that's true, but that's only correct when you're the strongest in the world. He says, for example, the protagonist in the previous work from the same author. It was called The Unorthodox Tyrant Chronicles. The blade techniques of the protagonist, who was the strongest in the world, were so fast that they could not be dodged even if they knew what it was. Mu Jin sighs, saying that in other words, if he's not the strongest, that does not apply to him. So until then, he must deceive his opponents, and there needs to be psychological warfare, like saying he'll use paper in a rock-paper-scissors game. Then he asks if he understands. Mu Gung is cooking. Back to the fight, Mu Huan is screaming, and Mu Gung asks him if this is all he has. Then warns him, saying what his next attack will be, so he should avoid it. It flashbacks us again to Mu Gung, saying that he has never thought about using this kind of behavior because it's cowardly. But he wonders why mixing in feints is cowardly to begin with. He sighs, telling Mu Jin that he is right. And since he learned something from him, he'll give him some advice too. Just now he said that he wanted to fight with Mu Tai and his underlings, and it would be dangerous to underestimate them just because of their fight. Mu Jin wonders what he is yapping about, saying that Mu Gung said he was stronger than them, yet he already beat Mu Gung. Mu Gung tells him that he wasn't fighting at his full strength. If it had been a real fight, not sparring, he would have used the martial arts of his family, along with the inner energy that he has accumulated so far too. They follow him to a corner, and he says that this is good enough. Mu Jin sighs, asking why he brought them here just to show his martial arts. Mu Gung says that it's because he doesn't want to upset the elders by using his family's martial arts. Mu Jin gets Mu Yelto, go be a lookout, and Mu Gung grins, saying that they're going to be surprised. He turns, thinking that now Mu Jin will finally respect him a little bit. He releases some of his aura, then releases a punch strong enough to create some ripples through the air, and we see that his fist is emanating a green aura. Mu Jin is surprised, saying that this is definitely different from when he used the normal chain punch. It's got power and speed, and that this is around the level of a high school boxer. Although the power isn't as strong as he imagined, considering his age, he's practically a monster. With every kick and punch, the air is snapping. This is why he said things would be dangerous for him, because if he were to fight Mu Tai and his underlings, they'll all use their own martial arts against him. Mu Gung stops his fist just shy of Mu Jin's face, asking what he thinks of his full power. Mu Jin says it is impressive, and he understands why people say he's the strongest among them. But he can tell that he is not able to freely control his inner energy, and if this is all he has, it's still possible to fight him. Mu Jin takes a stance against Mu Hui, and Mu Hui says that if he is just going to stand there, then he will come over to him first. Mu Jin says that after seeing Mu Gung, he can tell that Mu Hui will have to take a certain form to punch using his inner energy. Compared to Mu Gung, his punch is child's play. Mu Jin quickly dodges it and says that the martial arts they use is the chain punch, so it is still pretty predictable. Mu Hui is surprised that he dodged it and creates distance, saying that maybe him beating Mu Gung wasn't a fluke. Mu Jin quickly closes the gap with some boxing footwork and then channels his inner EPO, using the Dempsey roll to avoid all of Mu Hui's wild punches. Mu Hui puts his guard up after Mu Jin gets close, and Mu Jin says it's good he's defending his face, and then hits him straight in the stomach, which clearly puts him in a lot of pain. But Mu Hui does not fall over, and instead puts his fists together and is ready to strike down. But Mu Jin quickly goes to his side and kicks his legs out from under him, causing him to fall face first onto the floor. When he looks over, he sees Mu Jin preparing a punch. Mu Jin smashes the ground right beside his face, giving him a warning. Mu Hui starts to cry and then screams, which surprises Mu Jin. He asks him why he's suddenly crying. Mu Hui hits him with the typical "I'm going to tell my father." Mu Jin starts scratching his head and sighs, saying that doing this makes him seem like a bad guy. Yet they were the ones who bullied Mu Kyung, so why act like this? Then Mu Jin realizes he forgot about the others, and we see Mu Huan on the ground beneath Mu Gung. Mu Jin realizes he was worried for nothing. He looks over towards Mu Kyung, wondering how the fight will be, and then hears the sound of somebody being beaten. He sees Mu Kyung sitting atop Mu Tai, making him completely bloody. Mu Jin quickly shouts, telling him to stop and that he's already lost. He calls out to Mu Kyung and then starts to remember where he finally remembers him from, saying that he knew he'd seen his name many times, that based on how badly he is beating Mu Tae and his facial expression, he can tell that it must be him. A chill runs down his spine. As in the first novel the author wrote, there was a character inside of The Return of the Demon Supreme, the most insane character of all of them, who was a villain, loved blood more than anybody else, and Mu Kyung is known as the Blood Monk. With this, the chapter ends here. I hope that you liked today's video, and if you did, hit that like button as today's like goal is 100 likes. Comment next part down below for the next part. Also, consider subscribing with the notification bell on to get notified as soon as a new video drops onto the channel. I'll meet you in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching.